Welcome to Project U 2.2, the podcast where life and leadership meet endurance. I'm Greg Helmer, joined by my wife and partner in life and work, Carrie. Each week, we dive deep into the mindset, the neuroscience, and the real grit it takes to stop drifting and start living with clarity, confidence, and endurance. This is about real life, real struggles, and real growth. So lace up, it's time to live with endurance. If you just listened to Carrie's episode earlier this week, you probably felt something familiar stir inside you. That quiet nudge that says, I'm capable of more, but something is holding me back. I want to take you somewhere today, into leadership, endurance, and expectation. And I want to do it through a story, through a person that has shaped my life more than any title I have ever held. When you think of great leaders, you often think of men and women who aspired to greatness, people with high standards, people who expected more of themselves and invited others to rise upward with them. And I've learned this over time. When you choose to live up to the highest expectations that you know, even when it's uncomfortable, something in you, within you, strengthens. And perhaps not instantly, maybe not loudly, but inevitably. And when that motion is set into place, something powerful happens. You become the kind of leader others admire, respect, and want to emulate. Momentum builds, standards rise, and you begin to attract into your own life the support, the encouragement, and the people that you need. You see, that's not luck. I believe that is alignment. And I do believe in the law of attraction. And I believe the law of attraction works best when paired with discipline and expectation. And without question, it brought one of my former student athletes and me together. His name is Charlie. Once in a while, if you are fortunate, you will lead someone who never really leaves you. They remain part of your life, part of your story, part of who you become. As a leader, sometimes we're given the opportunity not only to grow others, but to grow because of those we lead. Charlie is that person for me. When I met Charlie, he was a scrawny junior in high school. Charlie lacked confidence, self-esteem, and often held his head low. You see, he was small, he was tiny, he was disengaged academically, and he carried himself like someone who didn't expect much from life, because life hadn't expected much from him. You see, Charlie grew up in poverty. His parents offered very, very little support. No encouragement, no expectations. They never attended a single school event, despite my efforts as Charlie's coach, offering rides, schedules, even personal invitations to his parents. They never showed up. They never came. And it went deeper than neglect. There was abuse. There was trauma. There was pain no kid should ever carry. You see, Charlie was surviving, not dreaming. And yet something inside him endured. Before I ever coached Charlie to run faster, I had to coach his mindset. We talked far more about hygiene, priorities, discipline, school, character, and expectations. We talked more about that stuff than we ever did about mile repeats, weekly mileage, or hill workouts. You see, Charlie didn't need better workouts from me. He needed someone to believe he could become more and to hold him accountable with tough love. And slowly something changed. Charlie began to stand taller. He began to care. He began to expect more of himself. And then Charlie flew. Charlie became the gutsiest athlete I've ever coached. He broke school records. He won championship races. He helped our team win titles. He became an all-state runner. But you see, the greatest accomplishment wasn't on the track or the course. Charlie became the first person in his family to attend college on a cross-country scholarship. Someone others had written off, including his own guidance counselor. He became a collegiate student athlete. Expectations are everything. Charlie would run through a brick wall for me because he knew I loved him. And I would coach through a brick wall for Charlie because I cared enough to demand more of him. And there were times Charlie did not like what Coach Helmer was telling him. You see, endurance isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's mental. It's spiritual. And after college, incredibly proud of Charlie, he enlisted in the United States Army. He served 15 years. He became part of the 82nd Airborne Division. He served 3 tours, 1 in Kuwait and 2 in Iraq, face to face with danger, sacrifice, and terror most of us will never understand. And today, Charlie continues to fight battles, PTSD, depression, and moments that test his will to keep going. And this is where I want to pause, because this is the part that matters most to me. I'm incredibly proud of Charlie. I love him. Not just because of what he survived, not just because of what he has accomplished, but because of who he chose to become. Charlie is married to a strong, beautiful, loving wife. And together they are raising 3 remarkable children. 1 in elementary, 1 in middle school, and 1 in high school. Each of them incredibly gifted. Each of them talented. Each of them growing up in a home filled with presence, support, love, belief, and expectations. Charlie, as a father and as a husband, he is fully present. He works out with his kids. He supports their dreams. He listens. He shows up. He cheers. He models discipline, effort, and love, not necessarily with speeches, but with consistency. You see, Charlie is giving his children something he never received growing up: stability, safety, and those high expectations paired with unconditional love. Charlie is breaking cycles. And if you've ever lived through neglect, abuse, or low expectations, you know how powerful that is. Because the easiest thing in the world is to repeat what you were shown. The bravest thing is to rewrite it. And you see, Charlie didn't just rewrite his story. He changed the story for the next generation. His kids will never face what he faced. His kids will never carry the absence he endured. They are growing up knowing what it feels like to be seen, supported, loved, and believed in. For Charlie, that is endurance. That is leadership. That is legacy. And Charlie, if you're listening to this, or if your wife is listening, or if your kids ever hear this someday, I want you to hear this clearly. What happened to you didn't get the final word. The choices you made afterward did. You took pain and turned it into presence. You took neglect and turned it into nurture. You took low expectations and replaced them with belief. Your children are watching you. And what they see is a father who shows up, a father who works hard, a father who loves deeply, a father who has endured. That matters more than records, medals, titles, or accomplishments ever will. Charlie, you didn't just become a champion runner. You didn't just become a soldier. You became the kind of man your kids can build their lives on. And that is the greatest victory of all. And here's why I'm telling you this today. High expectations are not pressure. They are belief in action. Someone once held the line for you. And someone right now is watching whether you'll hold it for them. So here's my challenge, and I want it to be bold. Ask yourself this week, who is your Charlie? Who in your life needs someone to see more in them than they see in themselves? Who needs accountability wrapped in love? Who needs expectations that don't waver when things get hard? And then ask the harder question. Where do you need to raise expectations for yourself? Because leadership always starts inward. Endurance isn't built when things are easy. Endurance is built when expectations stay high, especially when circumstances are heavy. Be the person who holds the line. Be the person who endures. And be the reason someone else believes again. This has been Project U 2.2, where we don't quit, we don't coast, and we don't surrender. If today helped, share it with someone who feels capable but quietly stuck. And every Wednesday at 6:22 a.m., Carrie brings the heartbeat of this work, mindset, growth, and the next brave step. Until next time, stay strong, stay real, and keep living with endurance. See you at 6:22.